This is 1287 2DM, and Graham with you. Good to have your company. We're here right until 3 o'clock this afternoon, and about to catch up with Kylea Tink, who is the CEO of the McGrath Foundation. And you're probably going to ask, why are we going to have a chat to Kylea? A couple of reasons. Want to talk about the McGrath Foundation, but also she's on her way to Tamworth. They're going to be up here, I think, on the 17th, if memory serves me correct, but I'm sure Kylea will be able to bring us up to speed on that. Kylea, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Graham.
Now, you are the CEO of the McGrath Foundation.
Yes, I am. I actually came to be involved in the McGrath Foundation a number of years ago. I was a public relations consultant originally who did the work for Tracy Bevan and Jane McGrath pro bono for a couple of years. And sadly, when Jane passed away, I was on maternity leave at the moment, which was good for me. It's sad that we lost Jane. And I was able to go in and work as a volunteer at the foundation to help the foundation get through during that time. And I've basically stayed, so it's just over 4 years now since Jane passed, and obviously the foundation has seen a lot of change, and we're trying to do as much good work as we possibly can do within the community.
Look, it has been an amazing effort, the McGrath Foundation, to put the emphasis on the projects that they are supporting and the money that they're raising, and it's a wonderful tribute to a wonderful lady, isn't it?
Yeah, Jane was an extraordinary woman. Sorry, Graham, there's a vacuum cleaner going off in the background. Jane McGrath was an extraordinary woman, and I think one of the things that was quite amazing about her was her capacity that even in very dark circumstances to understand that what she was going through was possibly an opportunity for her to help others in the same situation. So, Jane had breast cancer for a long time. She had breast cancer for about 12 years, and she went through two experiences with it. In the first time, she didn't have access to a breast care nurse, and she found it a very daunting experience. While the healthcare system here in Australia is arguably one of the best in the world, anyone who's been through it knows that you're often thrown phrases that you don't understand. It can be very frightening and confusing. Jane didn't expect to be re-diagnosed with breast cancer, but she was re-diagnosed nearly 6 years after her initial bout with it. And the second time around, even though she was so much more frightened by what she might possibly be facing, she actually found when she went for her first round of treatment that she had access to a breast care nurse. And having access to that resource fundamentally changed the experience that she and Glenn both had of breast cancer. I mean, the nurse was there right from the get-go. She was able to make sure Jane's medicines were administered more smoothly. She was able to help Glenn with the kids and the family and friends with questions about what Jane was going through. So Jane became very convinced that had happened for a reason, and that, it was because of what she'd learned that we then went on and relaunched the McGrath Foundation in 2005 with very clear objectives of increasing the number of breast care nurses across the country and to increase breast awareness in younger women.
Yeah, it's been an amazing project, and as you mentioned, bush nurses out there, breast care nurses as well, very important in rural areas where sometimes that information is not freely available.
Yeah, and it's why 85% of our McGrath breast care nurses are actually based in rural and regional Australia. I grew up in the bush, and it's such a beautiful place to grow up, and it's an amazing environment to be able to have your family and live your life. I think one of the sad things for us as rural dwellers, though, is the reality is a lot of services have become centralised in the major metropolitan areas, and while we understand it may be necessary for people who experience breast cancer to have to travel for major surgery to the bigger centres, there's definitely nothing but upside in then having really qualified, caring people back in your own community when you get home. And that's very much the story of the McGrath breast care nurse. Our model is different to any breast care nurse model that was ever in the country before we came about. Our nurses are based in community health settings, and the single biggest benefit of that is they can go wherever the patient needs them. So the barriers for them are few and far between. They can connect with the family right at point of diagnosis and go through surgery, chemo, radiotherapy, and they stay there for as long as that family needs them, and even beyond. I believe they're still dropping back tea cakes and, helping with a cup of tea every now and then post the event. So we're very proud of what the nurses are doing. There's 77 of them nationally now. There were only 4 when Jane died, so it's a pretty massive growth in the period of 4 years. But the reality is we know we've still got a ways to go. We believe we now need about 150 McGrath breast care nurses to be spread naturally to close every gap. So that's what we're working towards at the moment, and we're doing it fairly, ambitiously. I think Jane would want us to do it that way, and so we're very, very focused on, as money is raised, getting that money back out there and creating those roles in the communities that need them.
Yeah, Kylie, I'm sure that Jane is looking down at the moment and saying, look, you've done well, but we can do even better, the way that she certainly was out there and promoting it in her time. It is an amazing achievement, and you understand about local and rural areas because you grew up not too far away from here.
Yeah, I grew up in the beautiful town of Kylea, and actually it was a lovely spot to grow up, and I enjoyed it. I must admit, after 19 years there or 18 years there, I was ready to fly and see a bigger part of the world. But one of the things I love most in the world now is going home, and I have 3 young children under the age of 10, and we were very fortunate to be in Kylea only 3 weeks ago now doing 1 week of pony camp. So, there's just things that you can have in a rural lifestyle that you simply can't get anywhere in the world, and I'll be forever grateful having grown up in the bush.
All right. Now, you're coming up to Tamworth. I think it's on the 17th of October. The venue is at the West Diggers Club. Their tickets are on sale for that, and you can head along to that. The theme, I think, is going to be pink, a touch of pink. That's going to be the dress of it. So I think blokes can certainly, and we've seen them, they can dress up in pink and look pretty good.
I actually think most blokes look better with a splash of pink, I've got to say, Graham, and I think many women would agree with me. But I'm incredibly excited to be coming up to Tamworth. I actually had the opportunity not that long ago to be speaking with Simon Crean down in Canberra about what the National Broadband Network meant for Australia. And then off the back of it, we had the invitation to come up there and speak at the Tamworth and Liverpool Plains Digital Enterprise Program Start event. And I think the reason that the approach was originally made to us is, I've talked a little bit about how quickly we've been able to get our message out there and how wide the base of support has been for us for these 77 nurses. And a lot of that has only been enabled thanks to the internet. We have a very strong program of communications which focuses around social media. We have a Facebook fan page that has about 280,000 people that we now speak to every day. We use Twitter in a very proactive way. We would tweet sometimes upwards of 6 or 7 times a day just to keep, we've got 30,000 followers there to keep them informed of what we're doing and where we're working. We have an e-newsletter that goes out that, has obviously not only gives us great reach because it goes out via email to 30,000 people who then can forward it on to their friends and family, but has also reduced our operating costs because we don't have, the weight of paper production and mailing to get that distributed. So we're very big advocates of understanding how much benefit a really effective broadband network can bring to any business. And in all honesty, Graham, when Jane passed away, there was myself and 2 other people in the office in Sydney, and we were shell-shocked and we had very little resource. And I think had we not had that ability to turn to low-cost, low barrier to entry technology like Facebook and websites and Twitter, I don't think we would have actually been able to keep the momentum going as well as it has gone since Jane passed, because we just were able to immediately drive a conversation that people decided to stay, involved in. And we have a lot of learnings to offer people, and I'm excited to be able to come up there and talk to people about what they are and what the potential may be for their businesses.
Well, Kylea, I'm sure as guest speaker there, it's certainly going to be interesting. There'll be a lot of questions put to you and certainly a lot of support coming from this region for the McGrath Foundation. The MC is going to be Tim Coates, Councillor Tim Coates, who also President of the Tamworth Business Chamber and Tamworth Regional Councillor, as I mentioned. So registration, I think, gets underway at 11:30am for a 12 noon start and should finish around about 1:30. But, of course, you're happy to do encores if that is required.
I'm happy to have a conversation for as long as it's required. You don't have to ask me to, it's not a hard twist of my arm to come out west. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I believe we even have a beautiful country and western singer performing on the day. So, Graham, I'm hoping you might be coming along. Will we see you there?
It might be a time that I'm on the air, so it might be a bit difficult for me, but I'll certainly be there in thought and support as much as we can. Yeah, Kylie, in fact, Alice Simmons is Simo, as we call her, and certainly a local legend here as well. She's a lovely young lady and a wonderful entertainer, so she's part of the entertainment there. And I know that even Tim Coates, maybe Tim Coates, Kylea, Tink, and who knows, Elise could do a duet, or is that a trio? But we'll look forward to that. All right, if people want to get more information on that, they can contact us, but certainly get in contact with the Tamworth Regional Council, and I guess even the Digital Enterprise Program, which Derek Tink is certainly behind that in a big way. It's, as you mentioned about health, that is certainly one of the things about the NBN and the Digital Enterprise, the Tamworth and Liverpool Plains Digital Enterprise Program, what it's all about. And I think that's what we're going to see, where that's going to play a big role in health in the future. All right, Kylie, thank you very much for having a chat with us. We look forward to maybe catching up with you in the studio when you arrive next week.
I look forward to seeing you then, Graham. Take care.